On average, a person spends about 25 years of their life asleep. A whole 25 years simply disappear into a world that neither we nor even science can fully explain. We can study the brain at the neuronal level, visualize thoughts using neural networks, and perform complex scans. But the role of sleep remains one of the strangest mysteries of biology. Have you ever wondered why every night the brain creates entire worlds that do not exist in reality? Why are there dreams that literally everyone has had, regardless of culture, age, or country? What dreams can a person never have, and what do blind people who have never seen light see in their dreams? In this video, we will explore the strangest, rarest, and most inexplicable phenomena related to sleep. I assure you that after watching this video, you will stop perceiving your dreams as mere images in your head and begin to view them as entire psychological and biological processes. Absolutely everyone has experienced a dream at least once in their life. Usually it is something unique, based on personal experience, memories, and emotions. But there are dreams that literally everyone has had, regardless of geography, culture, or language. It is as if there is a common network of symbols built into the brain of every human being. It is important to understand that this does not mean that everyone dreams the same images. Locations, faces, and details can always be different. But the very structure of the dream, its emotional framework and motif, are repeated in almost everyone. For example, dreams with staircases. They are often dilapidated, the flights seem endless, and they are accompanied by anxiety and fear. Upon awakening, such dreams feel like nightmares. On various forums around the world, people share stories of trying to climb or descend a staircase only to find that it is destroyed or completely missing. Another example is dreams where you are being chased or followed. They are also universal and evoke the same emotions in people on all continents. Why? Scientists identified two main reasons. The first reason is archetypes. This term was popularized by Carl Jung, who believed that the brain uses a universal language of symbols. The basic emotions and biological reactions are the same for all people: fears, desires, feelings of danger. The brain translates these emotions into symbols that are understandable to everyone. For example, a ladder can be a symbol of the desire to climb, the fear of falling, or the feeling of being unable to control the situation. The second reason is that dreams are emotions in visual form. Dreams are not movies, but emotions translated into images. We want to see a plot and logical meaning, but the brain does not create a linear story. Locations, characters, and events change spontaneously. The main task of sleep is to make a person experience an emotion, not to watch a logical plot. The brain takes a feeling and turns it into a visual symbol that is accessible for understanding. Archetypes in this process resemble communication through gestures among tourists, a simple and universal way to convey meaning even if everyone speaks a different language. This is why billions of people around the world have similar dreams, not because the world is structured like a matrix, but because the biology of the brain is the same, and fears, reactions, and symbols are universal. For the most part, dreams are pictures. We see places, faces, colors, movements. Our brain is used to presenting information through sight, and it seems that dreams are impossible without pictures. But the question arises, what happens in the mind of a blind person? What do their dreams look like? Blind people have dreams, but they work differently. If a person lost their sight at around the age of 5, the brain retains a minimal archive of visual images. Sometimes in dreams, they see blurred silhouettes or spots of light. But full scenes are not available. Rather, they are fragments reminiscent of vague memories. Those who have been blind since birth have no visual elements. The brain simply does not have the data to put together a picture. Their dreams consist entirely of sounds, tactile sensations, smells, and a sense of space. Interestingly, blind people can experience the same emotional dreams as sighted people: broken stairs, falls, chases. Only they perceive them through the body and space rather than visually. The main task of a dream is to convey emotion. Many people treat dreams as a side effect of sleep. They fall asleep, see something strange, wake up, and forget half of it. But if you look more closely, dreams behave like a system with rules, and some of them are the same for everyone. Every night, the brain assembles a new world from emotions, random memories, and details from the past. Can dreams be considered a full-fledged simulation? Pay attention to the small details. Mirrors, phones, characters that seem familiar or like relatives. Dreams are often perceived as observation rather than active participation. It's like a mini simulation that the brain runs on internal resources. Unlike when awake, in dreams the brain generates reality from scratch rather than perceiving it as ready-made. Why do unfamiliar characters in dreams feel like friends or relatives? The brain perceives them as functions similar to a game engine. There is a database of face models and roles: parent, friend, threat, passerby. To convey emotion, it is not important for the brain that the appearance matches. Appearance in a dream can be anything, but behavior is strictly according to role. The identity of a character is perceived as a tag, a way to save computational resources in order to convey meaning. The situation is similar with mirrors. The reflection may be foreign, distorted, blurred, or absent altogether. The brain stores your appearance in small pieces, more as a feeling than a visual image. Generating reflections is too complex, so the brain makes a simplified version. The main thing is to convey meaning and emotions, not exact similarity. If you go to Google and type in the main principle of simulation, you will see the creation of an artificial but plausible reality indistinguishable from the real one. Dreams fully correspond to this principle. We believe in everything that happens, no matter how crazy it may seem. If the brain is capable of simulating an entire world in a dream, including sensations that a person has never experienced, then why are we so sure that it does not do the same during the day? Perhaps in everyday life, the brain filters, simplifies, and presents a ready-made picture, saving energy. In dreams, this system is fully revealed. There are no limitations imposed by physics, familiar rules of perception, or the correctness of events. Dreams show what the brain is capable of when it has no obligations to reality. Strictly speaking, sleep is one of the strangest phenomena in biology. Not simply because it causes dreaming or temporarily shuts down consciousness, but because its functions have not been fully studied. Interestingly, even creatures without brains or nervous systems exhibit sleep-like states. Previously, it was believed that only organisms with neurons were capable of sleep. But the more scientists studied life, the clearer it became that sleep may be a much more fundamental state and arose long before the first neurons. This forces us to rethink our approach to sleep. Perhaps it is not a function of the brain or nervous system, but a fundamental principle of any complex life. When we say sleep, we imagine a person who disconnects from the outside world to rest. In biology, however, sleep is a recurring state of disconnection in which the body reduces its reactivity and stops responding to external stimuli. Almost all living beings do this, regardless of their level of complexity. Take sponges, for example, one of the oldest animals on Earth. They have no neurons, brain, or receptors, but they have been found to have distinct cycles of activity and passivity that resemble sleep. Similarly, some jellyfish enter a state at night in which they do not respond to food or water movement. If you try to wake a jellyfish, its reaction slows down, just like a person who wakes up in the middle of the night. Even plants change their metabolism at night. They close their leaves, alter the pressure in their cells, and enter a state biologically similar to sleep. And bacteria, despite their simple structure, periodically fall into a state of reduced activity, reminiscent of energy-saving mode. These observations force us to look at sleep differently. If organisms without brains can sleep, then sleep is not just a reboot of neurons. It is older than the brain and performs a deep, fundamental task. To understand why we need sleep, it is worth looking at the physics of complex systems. Any system with a large number of interacting elements periodically falls into chaos in order to then restore order. This happens in atmospheres, climate, chemical reactions, economic markets, and ecosystems. Any complex system that operates continuously accumulates noise. If this noise is not discharged, the system will break down. Sleep is an ancient mechanism that puts the body into a state of temporary instability so that it can then reassemble itself in a cleaner and more orderly form. In other words, sleep is not just a strange process in evolution, but a built-in physical process for maintaining the viability of any system. Returning to humans, every day we receive a huge flow of signals, stresses, and interactions. The brain, as a complex system, accumulates noise. Sleep allows us to process this chaos, reset accumulated errors, and restore the optimal functioning of the body. An interesting point is that dreams often create entire worlds out of emotions, random memories, and elements of past experiences. These worlds can be non-linear and strange, and the characters can be unfamiliar and unusual. But all these features serve one purpose: to convey emotional experience and maintain mental and physical balance. Let's consider another strange detail. Mirrors and reflections often appear in dreams. They can be foreign, distorted, or completely absent. The brain does not store a complete image of appearance. It works with fragments. Generating reflections in dreams is too energy intensive, so the brain creates a lightweight version. The main thing is to convey the feeling, meaning, and emotion, not the exact visual reality. Dreams show how the brain uses limited resources to convey maximum information. There is an interesting analogy with computer simulation. In video games, the engine creates a world that is not fully detailed, but only enough for the player to get the necessary impressions. Dreams work in a similar way. The brain saves energy by creating only those details that are important for conveying emotional experience. Dreams also demonstrate the brain's ability to simulate reality. We believe in what is happening, experience emotions, and the brain fully immerses us in this experience even if the events are illogical or absurd. This gives reason to believe that dreams are full-fledged mini-simulations in which we temporarily live an alternative life. If we broaden our view, sleep ceases to be merely a biological phenomenon. It manifests itself in all forms of life, from bacteria to plants and jellyfish, as a way of managing chaos and restoring order in complex systems. Sleep is an ancient and fundamental process that ensures the viability of a system, whether it is the human brain or the simplest organism. So when you fall asleep, your brain isn't just resting. It creates a new world, experiences emotions, processes chaos, restores order, and conserves resources. It is a complex, multi-layered, intriguing system that remains one of the most mysterious secrets of biology and complex systems physics. And here's a question to ponder. If sleep is a fundamental process applicable to all living systems, could it be the key to understanding the very nature of life? Could our daytime reality also be governed by hidden mechanisms of simulation and chaos that we are unaware of? Write what you think in the comments. Could sleep be not just a function of the brain, but a fundamental principle of life that unites all forms of existence?